The shadow comes first. It is a sudden twilight, a stain that races across the sun-scorched earth faster than a man can run. The clan does not need to look up. The instinct is older than thought, a tremor passed down from the smallest of their human ancestors. They scramble, a frantic collection of limbs and panicked gasps, into the deep fissure at the base of the cliff. They press themselves into the rock, faces turned away from the sky, hands over their children's mouths to stifle their cries. The air chills. Then comes the sound, not a roar, but the noise of immense leather sails tearing through the wind. It is the sound of a god descending. Only Alara watches. She lies on her belly at the very lip of the fissure, her chin resting on the hot dust, her eyes fixed on the impossible thing in the sky, the Quetzalcoatlus. Its head, a spear of bone and keratin longer than a man is tall, pivots with unnerving precision. Its wings, vast and blotched like a thunderhead, block out the sun as it banks. Below, a herd of gallimimus bursts from the acacia scrub, their panic chirps cut short. The sky thing drops, not with a flap but with a controlled, gravitational certainty. It plucks one of the ostrich-like dinosaurs from the stampede, the snap of bone a sharp crack in the sudden silence. It does not land. With a single powerful downstroke that kicks up a cyclone of dust and leaves, it is ascending again, a broken puppet dangling from its beak, as it climbs toward the flat-topped mesa that dominates their world, the unreachable area they call the Stone God's throne. The clan exhales as one, a ragged, collective sigh. The shadow recedes. Sunlight returns. Kale, the old hunter whose face is a roadmap of scars, crawls to Alara and grabs her shoulder, his grip like stone. The sky is a mouthed goal. He rasps, his voice rough with fear and anger. Do not stare into it. Alara does not flinch. She keeps her eyes on the shrinking silhouette. It is not a mouthed old one, she murmurs, her voice strange, distant. It is a hand, it points. Kale shakes his head, pulling her back into the relative safety of the rock. It points only to the gut. It is hunger with wings. That is the only truth about dinosaurs our people have ever needed. He looks at her, his eyes narrowed with a fear that has nothing to do with the creature. He fears the way she watches, the way she finds patterns in the maelstrom of prehistoric life. For generations, their knowledge was simple. When the shadow comes, hide. Alara's heresy is to ask why it comes, and where it goes. This questioning of the established order, a nascent spark of a new kind of thinking, is a dangerous current in the steady river of their survival. It is an aberration in the long, slow arc of human evolution. She sees not just a beast, but a terrible, predictable grace, a language written in winged beats against the endless blue canvas of the sky. The clan sees madness. Alara leaves the safety of the fissure before sunrise, a small water skin and a handful of dried berries her only companions. She climbs. The ascent is perilous, a scrabbling, vertical journey up the spine of a lesser ridge that offers a stark, unobstructed view of the Stone God's throne. Here, exposed to the merciless sun and the scouring wind, she begins her work. For days that bleed into weeks, and weeks that stretch into the turning of a season, this ledge is her world. She is a speck of defiance in a landscape built to crush such things. Kale brings her water sometimes, leaving it on a lower rock and retreating without a word, his expression a mixture of pity and dread. To him, she is courting the shadow, inviting the sky mouth to consume her. But Alara is not causing death. She is learning its grammar. On a large, flat slab of sandstone, she scratches lines with a shard of flint. Each sunrise, a new line. She uses pebbles to mark the patterns. A white stone for a high, circling survey, the long hunt. A black stone for a direct, low flight toward the distant shimmer of the river. A red stone for the rare, terrifying dive on prey close to their own cliffs. She watches the colossal creature in the eyrie, its movements no longer a random act of divine violence, but a language. She sees the subtle shift in its flight path when the wind changes, the way it uses thermal updraft to climb without effort. She learns that the high circle means the plains are teeming with life, a warning for the clan to remain unseen. The direct flight to the river means the great crocodiles must be dormant, a brief window for her people to gather water safely. This is not worship. an obsessive study of a living specimen in its natural habitat. She begins to translate the patterns into motion, dots that her clown cannot comprehend. A slow sweeping circle of her arm means long humped, stay hidden. A sharp downward chop means prey taken, danger past. A fluttering of her fingers, mimicking the shudder of the beast's wings as it adjusts to a pressure change, means storm coming. She is crafting a new tongue not of the throat, but of the body, a silent, sacred communication with the forces that govern their prehistoric world. She is mapping the prey cycle, understanding for the first time that their existence is tied not just to the plants they gather and the small creatures they can trap, but to the rhythms of the apex predator that haunts their sky. Her mind is forging new pathways, a critical step for early humans moving beyond mere reaction to proactive strategy. One afternoon, she sees the fluttering sign. The Quetzalcoatlus on the mesa is agitated, its wings twitching, its long keratin OUS beak snapping at the air. She scrambles down the ridge, her heart a frantic drum. She finds Kale and the others preparing for a hunt. She performs the gesture, the rapid trembling of her fingers. Storm, she mouths, the words still new. Kale glances at the perfectly clear sky and scoffs, pushing past her. Your sky god has made you mad, girl. He leads the hunters out onto the plain. Alara can only watch, a Cassandra in animal hide, her knowledge a useless weight in her chest. An hour later, the sky turns a bruised purple with terrifying speed. The wind howls, and a torrential rain lashes the earth, scattering the hunt and washing away their tracks. The hunters straggle back, soaked and empty-handed, shivering not just from the cold, but from a new and unnerving feeling, the first flicker of belief. The trap is absolute. The clan huddles at the dead end of a box canyon, the scent of their fear a rich perfume for the predators that block the narrow mouth. There are 3 of them, a pack of hungry Allosaurus. They are not the titanic gods of the open plains. They are smaller, leaner, weary hunters built for ambush and pursuit. Their skulls are ridged with bony crests. Their movements are of fluid, reptilian patience. The sun will bait the clan. Thirst will drive them out. One of the predators scrapes its claws against the rock, a sound like stone grinding on bone, a casual reminder of their power. Kale and the other hunters from a grim line, their flint-tipped spears looking like children's toys against the coming storm. He knows what must be done. A sacrifice. A suicidal charge to create a moment's chaos for the others to flee. It is the brutal calculus of survival, a currency paid in blood. But Alara is not looking at the hunters, nor at the dinosaurs. Her gaze is fixed on the sky. The air is still. The sun is high. She sees it, a distant speck, and her body goes rigid. She turns to Kale, her eyes burning with an intensity that silences the rising panic. She does not speak. Her hands begin to move, a desperate, silent sermon. High circle. Long hunt, it sees. Then her hands drop, palms down, a gesture of immense weight. It will fall. His mind struggling to grasp the insanity of it. Rely on the shadow that has haunted their every step. Trust the sky mouth to save them from the jaws on the ground. It is a choice between 2 equally certain deaths. He looks at the faces of his clan, gaunt with terror. He looks at the predators, now growing restless, their low rumbles a prelude to the attack. Then he looks at Alara, who stands as still as the monolith she worships, her faith absolute. In that moment, the old hunter's world cracks. The simple survival skills of spear and stone are not enough. They need a miracle. The clan flattens itself against the canyon wall, a mosaic of terror and hope. Alara stands alone, her hand raised, watching. The speck grows. The shadow is born, a fast-moving blot that consumes the canyon floor. The Allosaurus speck grows agitated, looking up, their predator's instincts warring with a deeper, primal fear. The air tears open. The Quetzalcoatlus descends, a living landslide of flesh and bone. It ignores the humans, ignores the carnivores. Its target is a lone iguanagon that had been trapped with them, frozen in terror. The impact is a thunderclap of breaking bone. Chaos erupts. The Allosaurus back, driven by an opportunism that overrides their fear, surges forward toward the fresh kill, snarling and snapping, a frenzy of greed. This is the moment Elara predicted. Now Kale roars. The clan sprints, hugging the far wall, a desperate flight of ancient humans pouring through the gap created by the divine distraction. They do not look back. They run until their lungs burn them, the sounds of the reptilian battle fade behind them. When they finally collapse on a high ridge, they look back. The canyon is quiet. The sky god is gone. They were saved not by a spear, but by a pattern. They look to Elara, who watches the now empty sky. Their fear has not vanished. It has become awe. And in the crucible of that canyon, a new religion was forged, a form of primal animism born from the shadow of a god that was, in truth, only a beast. The event in the canyon becomes legend, the first chapter in a new story these people tell themselves about their place in the prehistoric world. It is a turning point in hominid history. For the first time, the monumental, terrifying power of the dinosaurs was not just endured, but understood. It was harnessed. A human mind, armed with nothing but patience and the courage to observe, turned the greatest threat into their most powerful omen, their unknowing protector. This is the seed of all that is to come. The birth of strategy, the dawn of faith, the audacious idea that the universe, for all its crushing indifference, operated on rules that could be learned. It is the moment our ancestors stopped just hiding from monsters and began to read the map of their movements, finding the secret paths through a world that should have erased them. Their desperate gamble, to trust a pattern over a spear, was the first true act of human genius. It begs the question: how much of our own civilization is built not on conquering nature, but on the quiet, terrifying wisdom of learning to dance in the shadow of giants? The chronicle is written in shadow and bone. Listen closely. But in the deep forests, the earth itself begins to tremble, and not all gods live in the sky.